It's not too early to ask, but are we headed for a Big Ten rematch between Ohio State and Oregon in the college football playoffs? I think so. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you get started with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com and get started. So Ohio State versus Oregon, again, playoffs, I'm all about it. Plus transfer portal news. We got quarterbacks leaving Big Ten teams and Tuesday tweets. Hang on for that. There's some chest pounding going on out there. All right. How likely is an Oregon versus Ohio State rematch of the college football playoffs? I would say very likely. But first, let me echo what others have said here. I want to get into this. Oregon really got jammed by the college football committee. Or at least the process that was put in place that the committee tried to follow. What you say? Well, the Ducks earned a number one seed and a bye in the college football playoffs. So they did that. But typically in sports, I don't know, like the NCAA basketball tournament, March Madness, the top seed usually gets the benefit of playing the worst teams or an easier schedule, kind of a reward for being number one for their body of work when they got the top seed. In fact, March Madness will go so far as to pick 4 number one seeds for all 4 regionals and then rank those 4 number one seeds and have a number one and give them the easiest path forward throughout the field of the tournament. Not in football. But then again, since when has college football ever made sense? It really doesn't. But here's the deal. The Ducks get to play the winner of Tennessee versus Ohio State, 2 very good football teams. And then likely they'll play Texas if they win. And of course, if Texas wins their game, they would have to beat the 16th ranked Clemson and then beat the 12th ranked Arizona State team. Meanwhile, so yeah, I think it will be a Texas moving on forward after Oregon gets to play the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee. These are all good teams. These are all the best teams in the 12-team field. That's not an easier route. Take Penn State, for example, which lost the Big Ten championship game to Oregon. So they get to play SMU. All right. No disrespect to SMU, but I think Penn State's that's a fairly easy game for Penn State, I think, relatively speaking. And if they win that, then they get Boise State. These aren't the upper echelon teams of the 12 teams in the playoff field. Penn State has a much easier path moving forward than Oregon does. And again, no disrespect to those teams. So back to the prospect of a rematch between Ohio State and Oregon. We thought all along that these two teams would probably play twice at some point. I think we all knew that the game in October was going to be a big deal in the regular season as Big Ten foes. And I think a lot of us, myself included, thought there would be a rematch in the Big Ten championship game between Oregon and Ohio State. Ohio State felt that much close. A thing called Michigan got in their way. Otherwise, it would have happened. And then we even thought about, wow, that could happen. And then they could play again in the playoffs a third time. Crazy. Now, that's not going to happen this year. But, it just wasn't meant to be. But I do think a rematch in the next round of the playoffs will happen. I think Ohio State will beat Tennessee, and Oregon will be sitting there waiting, and we'll see what happens. So Oregon will be waiting for the winner of the Ohio State Tennessee game, and we got our rematch. We're all good to go. So when I look at this moving forward, first of all, the reason I think Ohio State will beat Tennessee is because I think Ohio State's roster is way better and deeper at almost every position than Tennessee. Plus, they'll have home field advantage for the Buckeyes. They'll be a lot better than had they Had to go to Neyland Stadium in front of 100,000 people over there, all cheering for the Vols. But if Ohio State plays Oregon, the Ducks won't have home field advantage that they had against the Buckeyes in their 1-point win at Austin Stadium. And we all know that the Buckeyes, if they had 1 or 2 more seconds left in that 60-minute game, they would have attempted a makeable game-winning field goal. So a potential rematch here would be in the Rose Bowl and, neutral field. Although I think the Ducks would feel at home on the West Coast in the Pacific time zone, but I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. The Ducks will be pretty healthy for that game. They get all these couple more weeks now to get all rested up. They were getting all their players back here at the end of the year. The Ohio State Buckeyes made it to the finish line with some injuries to their offensive line that they're not going to recover from. And those were 2 players that played in the Oregon game. They're not going to be around this time. Left tackle Josh Simmons, he's been out, injured his knee, done for the year. Center Seth McLaughlin tore his Achilles before the Michigan game. And Ohio State acted like, hey, it wouldn't be a big deal because they'll just move Carson Heinzman back to center where he played the year before. Plenty of experience. Well, there's a reason they replaced him and moved him on. Plus, he was young. He was a freshman. Now he's a sophomore. And it was a problem against that big, beefy interior line of the Michigan defense. So with 2 starters gone up front, they couldn't get anything going in that Michigan game with the running game against Michigan's front 7. And Oregon's defense is going to be a lot better than Michigan's defense was when Ohio State plays them. So we'll see how that goes. But first, Ohio State has to get past Tennessee. So we'll do a deep dive on that game as we get a little bit closer right here on Locked On Big Ten. We always do these. We get in it. We get our hands dirty and break it down. We'll do that again for all of these playoff games involving Big Ten teams, all 4 of them. So we're very excited about that. Do have some good news and expected news, but it's now official for Oregon quarterback Dillon Gabriel. He joins Colorado's Travis Hunter and Miami's Cam Ward and Boise State's Ashton Jeanty, all finalists heading to New York for this weekend's Heisman Trophy presentation. Now, the Heisman's gone to the nation's most outstanding player since 1935, as you all know, although it's become a bit of a quarterback's award. So I'm going to be curious to see how Ashton Jeanty does and Travis Hunter versus Cam Ward, of course, and Dillon Gabriel. Going to be very interesting. Now, remember, just think about this. This time last year, the journey that Gabriel has gone on. He shocked Oklahoma, where he was at last year, by informing them as soon as the season was over that he was entering the transfer portal. And shortly thereafter, he announced he was going to Oregon, where he has yet to lose a game. 13-0, winning Big Ten championship, earning the number 1 seed in the newly expanded 12-team college football playoff. It's been a great year for Gabriel. He's thrown 28 touchdown passes, just 6 interceptions, completed 73% of his passes, also added 7 rushing touchdowns, and then his career total of 187 touchdowns is the most in NCAA history. He's also started more games than any other quarterback in FBS history with 62. Guy's experience, a lot of stats, a lot of greatness. It's been good, been fun to watch. His competition features Colorado's 2-way player Travis Hunter, shades of Charles Woodson playing on both sides of the ball, Boise State's Ashton Jeanty, who rushed for almost 2,500 yards and 29 rushing touchdowns. And, of course, Miami quarterback Cam Ward led the nation with 36 passing touchdowns and was the AP Offensive Player of the Year. Would like your early polling. If you want to hit me up with some comments, we'd love to hear from you. Who do you think is going to get the Heisman? Does Dillon Gabriel, does he have a chance? Or is it going to go to one of those other guys? And I'd like to hear your early thoughts. We got plenty of time of a possible rematch with Oregon and Ohio State. Will it go any differently this time around? Love to hear from you. Hit us up with the comments on YouTube. In the meantime, if you don't mind, I always ask our audience to subscribe. If you haven't yet before, hit the little subscribe button. It's free. Just like that. Just hit it and you're good to go. And then we're all together. All things Big Ten. You can subscribe and follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcasts, and get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. And don't forget our website where we have all of our podcasts. We archive everything there, talkbig10.com. That's the number 10, talkbig10.com. We also have links for you to do some Christmas shopping. You want to get some Oregon Duck shirts and hats and T-shirts, Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana, Michigan, it's all right there. We got links for you. You can go and click and buy and get all your favorite Big Ten school gear for you or family members and stocking stuffers for the Christmas holidays. All at talkbig10.com. All right, so check this out. Transfer portal is open for business. Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Iowa all lost quarterbacks already. We'll tell you all about that. Plus, we got some Tuesday tweets right around the corner, right here on Locked On Big Ten. FanDuel makes watching games even more exciting. New customers can bet $5 at FanDuel and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. You can do this during NFL games, for example. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place your live bets on the NFL all in one place. So if you get a hunch in the middle of a game you're watching, go there. Live in-game betting, all that stuff. You can view live play-by-play stats all on the same page where you place your bets. Very easy to use. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. By the way, Thursday Night Football this week. Short week for both of them. The Rams, it's going to feel short because they had that shootout with the Bills, high-scoring game. Rams taking out the 49ers. They actually blew out the Bears. It's really easy to take the over at 48.5 with those teams putting a lot of points on the board. But I don't know, short week, Thursday, might be a little tired. I might like the under at this one at 48.5. You can do this at FanDuel.com. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right. I want to thank all of you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Meanwhile, subscribe, and you can do that on YouTube and share and follow like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. Got some good news for the playoff-bound Penn State Nittany Lions as their offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki, who has been instrumental in their explosive and I think entertaining offense over there in his first year with the program. He's not going to be moving on to West Virginia. We told you last week they were interested in interviewing him and talking to him. I don't know if they actually talked or if he just said no thank you. But either way, he's not going. He's just tweeted out how happy he is at Penn State, looking forward to the playoffs, looking forward to 2025. So he's staying. He's coming back. And West Virginia had an opening because they fired Neil Brown, and they're very interested in Kotelnicki, but not to be. And Kotelnicki, as you know, replaced Mike Yurcich last season, and Penn State's been averaging 34 points a game. That's 25th in the country. They are the 15th best in total offense. So just a great pairing, complementary football, highly ranked offense, highly ranked defense. Very good. By the way, I still say, since we're talking about the Heisman earlier, that Tyler Warren, their tight end, should have been a finalist for the Heisman Trophy. He was just a remarkable player. All right, quarterback transfer portal for quarterbacks. Michigan quarterback Jayden Denigal. He's entering the transfer portal. In fact, nearly a dozen teammates have joined him there at Michigan. That's a far cry from last year when hardly anybody left the program. Even with the transition from Jim Harbaugh to Sharon Moore, hardly anybody left. This year, got a dozen players bolted. Meanwhile, Michigan struggled mightily this year at quarterback. They bounced from Davis Warren to Alex Orji to Jack Tuttle. Denigal never made it on the field, even with all the problems going on with the guys ahead of him on the depth chart. Never made it on the field this year in 2024. And the chances of him doing so next year are even more slim with the addition of top recruit Bryce Underwood. By the way, we mentioned this yesterday. It's worth mentioning again. Michigan also signed former Buckeye Kirk Herbstreit's son, Chase Herbstreit, to play quarterback. I'm still shaking my head on that. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when that decision was made in the Herbie household. And I don't know that Ohio State sought him at all. They're loaded at quarterback, and he's not on the same level as those guys. But I would have liked to have seen Ryan Day's reaction when he was told, hey, Herbie's kid's going to Michigan. I think it's amusing. I do. Ohio State, speaking of them, their former five-star quarterback recruit Devin Brown is leaving the Buckeyes and entering the transfer portal. For 2 straight seasons, Brown was right in there, neck and neck, battling for the starting quarterback job, first with Kyle McCord and then Will Howard. He will remain with the Buckeyes through the playoff run. That's cool. It's good. He's like the next backup and didn't want to put him in a bind, and it's a playoff game. It's not like some regular .com bowl game. A lot of times guys hit the portal, they're out. They don't hang around for the bowl game. So, but he's gonna hang out for the playoffs, maybe win a national championship. You never know. Next year, the Buckeyes, as you know, they got Julian saying he's going to be ready to go. He was the 5-star that initially recruited, went to Alabama, but then all of a sudden Nick Saban suddenly retired and Saban came to Columbus. On to Wisconsin. Quarterback and former Miami transfer Tyler Van Dyke is also entering the transfer portal. He's a 5th-year quarterback, but he only appeared in 3 games this year for the Badgers before suffering a season-ending knee injury against Alabama. Prior to that, he was a 3-year starter at Miami with up-and-down results. Braid Locke led the Badgers the rest of the way following Van Dyke's injury. In addition to Locke, the Badgers have Mabry Mature. And don't forget, they're getting a new quarterback, a 4-star passer, Carter Smith from Bishop Faroe in Fort Myers, Florida, because he decommitted from Michigan once they went after Bryce Underwood. He ends up now at Wisconsin for Luke Fickell. And another day and another quarterback enters the transfer portal for Iowa. Marco Lainez. We talked about Cade McNamara yesterday. Lainez appeared in 1 game in 2 seasons with the Hawkeyes. He's gone. He replaced Deacon Hill back in the Citrus Bowl after the 2023 season, completed 4 passes for 4 yards. So that's the latest on the transfer portal around the Big Ten. Take a moment from football for just a second. Men's basketball tonight, Tuesday night. Got a handful of games you might be interested in. Penn State is at Rutgers. That's 7 o'clock on Peacock, 7 o'clock Eastern. 14th ranked. Yeah, Michigan's ranked 14th. 14th ranked Michigan versus Arkansas. This is the Jimmy V Coaches Classic. Got a couple classic coaches here. Dusty May, an up-and-comer. Coach Cal, remember, left Kentucky. He's now at Arkansas. This game will be at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight on ESPN. 20th ranked Wisconsin at Illinois. That's the 9 o'clock game on Peacock. So the doubleheader on Peacock tonight after Penn State and Rutgers. Then they got Wisconsin and Illinois. And then the Big Ten Network with a late one, Eastern Washington at Washington, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific on the Big Ten Network. All right, we always love having a blast with our Tuesday tweets. Today is no different. A lot of proud teams and proud tweets with the playoffs here for Big Ten teams. We'll take a look at that. Hang around. We'll see if yours made the list right here on Locked On Big Ten. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite. And right now, you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off statewide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with the promo code COLLEGE. Big time savings. These are great gift ideas right here. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. It's a good-looking package, too, on top of that with the product you get. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off statewide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with the promo code COLLEGE. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with the promo code COLLEGE. Minimum purchase may apply. It is time now for Tuesday Tweets. We do this. If you're new here, we're picking up new people all the time. You know, we do features at the end of every podcast. Monday, our Big Ten, top 10 Big Ten observations for the weekend. Tuesdays, Tuesday Tweets, kind of like a mailbag segment, sort of. Also, Wednesdays, our Big Ten power rankings. Tomorrow, we're going to do the college, we're going to do the football power rankings one more time from the Big Ten, but I'm going to also put up what we predicted back in August. It's our report card. We're going to see how we did. I'm going to tell you right now, I did not see Indiana doing as well as they did. Thursdays, we do our Big Ten Network, Big Ten Classics, and live action for the weekend. And Friday, our Pigskin Picks, which will continue to do Pigskin Picks, but we have to squeeze in some basketball along the way here as well. All right, let's put the tweets up. Let's see what's going. We'll go full screen. If you're audio only, we'll describe them in detail what we have here. This is a graphic from Big Ten football bowl season, and it's a graphic of all the bowl games. I mean, we were talking about the 4 teams in the playoffs, but we got Rutgers taking on Kansas State at the Rate Bowl. USC and Texas A&M out in Vegas, baby. Nebraska and Boston College. That's the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium. Also, we got Iowa, the Music City Bowl. That's pretty exciting. Gets Missouri, Michigan, and Alabama. Rematch of the Rose Bowl. That's rematch from last year's Rose Bowl. We got Washington taking on Louisville, the Tony the Tiger Bowl, the Cheez-Its Bowl, the Citrus Bowl. Illinois versus South Carolina Gamecocks. And, of course, PJ Fleck in Minnesota rowing the boat against Virginia Tech and the Duke's Mayo Bowl. A lot of bowl games, a lot of bowl teams, a lot of deserving teams in the Big Ten. Here is from at CBS Sports College Football, the first 12-team college football playoff. Who will win it all? It's a graphic. It looks good up there, showing the logos, Tennessee and Ohio State, Clemson and Texas. And there's Indiana, Notre Dame. We haven't talked about that much. We're going to get into that later this week, maybe even tomorrow. SMU and Penn State. And then your 4 teams with the byes. Oregon and Georgia and Boise and Arizona State. But yeah, look at that. Look at all that that Oregon has to do here. Incredible. Tough fight. Kind of making our point from earlier that they did not get the easier draw. Here's from college football on Fox. Dillon Gabriel, picture of him. Oregon football 13-0 for the first time in program history. Oregon Ducks. Quack, quack. Here's another picture of him without the helmet. Says at Go Ducks. Among the elite, Oregon football's Dillon Gabriel, a Heisman Trophy finalist. Hashtag Go Ducks. Good luck to him. Here's from at Ohio State football. Picture of the crowd and some of the players. And it says one more time in the shoe. Yep. Come back. Now have a postseason playoff game and home game. We're used to college football. You play your season. You play your conference championship on a neutral site, and then you go off to another neutral site, play a bowl game. Now get to come back home, play one more home game. Here's at the Wolverines on 3. How about them Wolverines? Picture Dusty May. It says 14th over it. Michigan is ranked 14th in both major polls, appearing in the AP Top 25 for the first time since 2022. Yeah, they made a coaching change. And all of a sudden, they're the 14th team in the country. Quick turnaround, looks like. Here's from at Michigan football. Michigan versus Alabama. New Year's Eve at the ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa. It's a picture of a Michigan helmet and then a Michigan and Alabama logo. And hashtag Go Blue. December 31st in Tampa. This is from at Hoosier Fever. It says there's 2 types of people in the world. And there is the movie poster from the movie Hoosiers with Gene Hackman. And then another movie picture from Rudy, the famous Notre Dame movie. And with Indiana playing Notre Dame, it says 2 types of people in the world, Hoosier people or Rudy. See, there's always an argument with sports talk radio. What's the best sports movie of all time? And it usually comes down to these 2. Are you a Hoosiers person or are you Rudy? You decide. I like Hoosiers. Speaking of Hoosiers, here is a memo. I won't read the whole thing, but it is a memo from Indiana University at IU Bloomington. Important announcement regarding the winter graduation ceremony. It has been moved because Indiana football has a playoff game that day. Ceremonies on December 20th will move to 9 a.m. and noon in the IU auditorium. Going to be early because people want to watch that Indiana Notre Dame game later on and maybe even scurry on up there. It's about a 3 or 4 hour drive if weather is good. Here's from at Ben Stevens. In 49 other states, it's just football. In Indiana, it means everything. Here's the bracket. 10-seed Indiana versus 7-seed Notre Dame. They are fired up for this one, which is Indiana, typically a basketball school, but they're all about this football. Speaking of which, remember when Notre Dame and Miami used to play back in the day, the Catholics versus the convicts? Well, now it's the Catholics versus the cigarettes. Coach Signetti And the Indiana Hoosiers taking on Notre Dame. That's from at Ryan Cotter. Thank you for that. And here's one from at Indiana football. It's time for the postseason. Hoosiers with the shiny college football championship trophy. Never daunted. Indiana says, we're in. Yes, you are. Here's from the real Tom Woodson. Current get-in price. Check this out for these games. The Indiana Notre Dame average price, $1,300, $1,400. Clemson, Texas, $400. Ohio State, Tennessee, over $300. Penn State, SMU, $196. But big money for IU and Notre Dame. By the way, go to our Game Time app, and I'll bet you get a better deal than that. Game Time, one of our sponsors here at Locked On Big Ten. Here we are at Big Ten men's basketball. 6 Big Ten teams find themselves in the AP top 25 this week. What do we have? We had 5 football teams in the top 25. We got 6 basketball teams. Purdue at 11, Oregon 12, Michigan 14, as we alluded to earlier, Wisconsin 20, Michigan State 21, UCLA 24th in the country. Indiana receiving votes, by the way. All right. They're starting to play a little bit better. There you have it. Our Tuesday tweets, always fun. Hit me up on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. You got something good there, I'll be glad to put it here on our podcast each and every week. It's always a bunch of fun. Many ways for you to react. Don't forget, tomorrow I'll do our college football power rankings for the Big Ten. We'll compare what we did at the beginning of the season to now and see if we were correct in some spots or if we were off the mark. But hit me up on Twitter or Talk Big Ten. Also, our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts and your Christmas shopping merchandise from your favorite Big Ten schools right there, talkbig10.com. As soon as we're done, go do some Christmas shopping right there on the old internet. And comments on YouTube are always welcome as well. For free, it's always for free. If you subscribe, just subscribe. Hit the little subscribe button, set it and forget it. And you can subscribe and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and you'll get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every day. As always, had a blast. Thanks for tuning in. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. We got a lot to cover, and we'll also keep an eye on that transfer portal for you. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll talk to you next time.